You know I love flags. So soft, so silky. But crooked Sleepy Joe and his cronies have the country upside down. It's not good. Show your support of Trump and America with the official upside down American flags.
Should Democrats be in jail? No question. When Donald Trump gets elected, should he start locking them up? No question. Should there be lists of Democrats that need to go to jail? 100%.
Not just jail, they should get the death penalty. You know, we actually used to have the punishment for treason in this country.
As a Catholic and as someone who really cherishes my faith, I don't know that we can negotiate with the left in the way that needs to happen for the polarization to end. I think that it's a matter of winning.
I think you're probably right. I think one side or the other is going to win. I don't know. I mean, there can be a way of living together peacefully, but it's difficult, because there are differences on fundamental things that really can't be compromised. So it's not like we're going to split the difference.
I want to talk about Alito's letter. His up yours to Congress.
The interaction that happened on February 15th is the one that they're using as an excuse for why they flew the flag. And I really want to hammer home the fact that that happened on February 15th. And their flag went up 2 or 3 weeks before that. That timeline just disproves it. It just doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
And that's what I'm saying. I think that the solution really is winning the moral argument. People in this country who believe in God have got to keep fighting for that to return our country to a place of godliness.
Oh, I agree with you.
Let me just say that Alito should be impeached. Obviously for the stuff he's doing now. But the dude's on the take. I've made that clear. I won't go into that now. That's a video for an earlier and probably later time.
These are not your regular flags, which are only good for right side up. These flags are handmade in China, the country upside down from us. Each one is individually stitched by an upside-down seamstress.
We know now from the neighbor who was involved that it was actually the woman who used that word about other women. And she says that the timeline was completely wrong.
Now we know that MAGA battle flags were flown over the Alito residences. We don't know all the facts of what happened. We do know that Alito's version of events differs from corroborated statements of other witnesses to those events.
Alito's family took that as being about them. January 17th is when we know an upside-down flag was flying at the Alito home, according to the New York Times. Now, the important piece here is Alito said, well, that was flying because of the confrontation. But now we know there is evidence that February 15th is actually when that confrontation happened, after that upside-down flag had been flying. Here's what the neighbor said.
Says, and I quote him again, Emily, a house on the street displayed a sign attacking her personally. I guess that's the you are complicit or that you were just talking about, but that you say was not directed at her. And a man who was living in the house at the time trailed her all the way down the street and berated her in my presence using foul language, including what I regard as the vilest epithet that can be addressed to a woman, which is the C word.
Priced at $249. Do we love this deal? Yes, we do. Order your official Trump brand upside-down American flag today.
It was you who said those things. It was not your now husband. But you say Alito is lying here for another very basic reason. Can you explain?
Buy 10 or more and receive an upside-down Bible absolutely free.
At best, he's mistaken, but at worst, he's just outright lying. And there was a neighbor who even witnessed this and witnessed me using that unfortunate term.
Displaying the upside-down American flag and appeal to heaven flag creates the appearance that Justice Alito has already aligned himself with the Stop the Steal campaign. He cannot credibly claim to be an umpire calling balls and strikes in these cases.
In that interaction, she approached us, started screaming at us, used all of our full names, which to me felt like a threat because you're a stranger. We don't know you. You don't know us. How do you know our full names? And I started yelling, how dare you? Because they both were there at the same time. So I said, how dare you? You're on the highest court in the land. You represent the Supreme Court of the United States. You're behaving this way. You're yelling at a neighbor. You're harassing us. How dare you? Shame on you. And I did use the word. So if that in any way, distracts from that real message, I do regret using the word because the message is important.
Give me cash, just give me money.
And for sure, we know that people need to be able to trust that judges maintain the highest standards of impartiality, which includes avoiding even the appearance of bias. And say what you will about the excuses and the reasons for flying MAGA battle flags over the house of a Supreme Court justice, you cannot say that those flags did not appear.
On that day, there's actually a police report about that incident, and that shows that the timing just doesn't work, right? The flag was up before. The flag picture that the New York Times had was weeks before that incident actually happened, where you called her that word. So what he's saying here, you're saying at best mistaken, but it certainly is it's categorically by the dates not true, right? She didn't put the flag up for that reason.
Absolutely, 100%. And that's what I want to really drive home to people is that this happened on February 15th. And we know that because they had been harassing us so long that we were like, we need a paper trail of this. Like, we better call the cops right now.
But this letter, are you serious? No reasonable person would think that there's a question here? Really?
They have a security detail that parks in front of their house or like in front of the house across the street from them. We are 4 or 5 houses away, and sometimes that detail would be in front of our house, which, obviously I can't say for sure. I don't know what their motivation was, but we did take it as intimidating, especially when that same car reappeared in front of our house the day the New York Times article came out. And I don't know what else we're supposed to get from that.
You cannot say that they did not create an appearance that to a reasonable person would raise serious questions about whether that justice flying MAGA battle flags over his home had a bias, particularly with respect to cases arising out of the January 6th MAGA insurrection.
Of course, the Supreme Court says you can't, have congressional oversight. That's in the Constitution because they're above the law.
Alone in the entire federal government, alone, Supreme Court justices are subject to no fact-finding process.
Well, that's bullshit. The Constitution is very clear. The Senate has oversight over the Supreme Court. Before and during their tenure on the court.
Heck, President Biden sat for an official interview about the documents in his garage. But the justices, and only the 9 justices, are protected even from any fact-finding.
And these dudes are full of shit. But Alito has lied. Straight up lied. He's got several different stories going on here about the flags and what happened there. And his stories don't match. And that's a problem.
So for sure, these far-right justices have demonstrated that they need to be subject to an enforceable ethics code. It's like, we'll play by the rules of baseball, except for that part about umpires.
Because they say so is not an argument. I know they would like it to be. But that's because they're on the take.
So we'll have an ethics code, we'll play by the rules of baseball, but we'll get to call our own balls and strikes. And we'll get to call ourselves safe on base every time.
Hell, just this week, Roberts refused to speak to the Senate. My God, man. You don't even want to hear what the questions are? Or are you scared?
We also know that the justices won't talk to us about their messes, about this problem. Justice Roberts just declined a meeting with the chairs of the Judiciary Committee and the Courts Subcommittee. Alito sent us a letter expanding on his challenged version of events, but his correspondence is not subject to the veracity discipline of any sanction for falsehoods and omissions.
They have no ethics code because they have no ethics. Hell, they just wrote us new so-called Supreme Court ethics code, and it means nothing. It says, basically, they get to decide what ethics are, and if it applies to them, they'll let you know.
Again, and making matters worse, Alito's story conflicts with the accounts of other people involved, and the Supreme Court, uniquely in all of government, has no mechanism for getting to the truth. So if the court won't create one, then we need to. And my Supreme Court ethics bill would do just that.
They're getting gifts and houses. They're actually getting houses. They're getting trips all around the world, cruises and all kinds of things. My God, they're getting millions of dollars in gifts from people who have business on the court.
That can be fixed. Nowhere is the Supreme Court forbidden to have an inbox for ethics complaints.
And Alito's letter is lying to the Senate, and that's illegal. Lying to the Senate in person or in a letter is illegal. And if he's not lying in a letter, then we need some questions answered about why he told a different story last week.
I'm sorry, sir. This should take less than an hour, but I need to go through the events in this complaint and get your statement of what the facts are here. That's not hard.
This court seems to only have one thing on their minds, other than destroying a woman's right to choose. Flags, for sure, and fags every day. I am sick and fucking tired of people pretending that these scumbags are legitimate. They screwed Obama out of even getting a hearing for his nominee so they could stack the court. They constantly say that Democrats want to stack the court. They already did it with the crookedest sons of bitches that ever walked on the court. Hell, it wasn't too long ago, the mere suggestion of impropriety. You left forever.
And nowhere is the court forbidden from allowing, for instance, a panel of senior, respected federal chief judges who administer the ethics code in their own circuits to compare what the justices did, what the fact-finding investigation revealed, with what those chief judges would allow in their circuits.
I guess anything goes now.
And then make that comparison public. None of that offends the separation of powers. It would be all run within the judicial branch. And even without any actual disciplinary punishment, the rebuke of a Supreme Court justice being told that their conduct wouldn't fly in other federal courts would be a powerful corrective and deterrent. There's an old saying that the best way to show one stick is crooked is to lay a straight stick down next to it. A panel of senior and respected chief judges could provide that straight stick. Even on an advisory basis, the straight stick would be valuable.
All they want to do is get Trump off.
Guy is a crime Costco. He's like the guy that drives down the breakdown lanes for miles to pass stop traffic. Well, eventually, one of us has to T-bone that bitch into a retaining wall so he knows he ain't special.
Stop women from having a right to choose and destroy the lives of gay people. Not for any other reason but because they're assholes and they think that shit's funny. Do you really believe it's because they're Catholic? These crooked dudes? It's hard to say how many sins they're committing every day. These fuckers are bad examples. And of course now Republicans are talking about bringing in the Supreme Court to overturn the New York conviction. What happened to states' rights? I'm from Texas. I'm so disillusioned. I thought Republicans cared about states' rights. I thought that states' laws applied. 34 felonies? Which ones? All of them? Really?
I also lost millions because he sexually assaulted women. That's the Republican nominee for president. Nice way to class it up, you sheep.
Rule of law Republicans don't exist. Trump wants the Supreme Court of the federal government to go into a state and tell them that crimes committed in their state are just too damn bad.
Well, what does this mean? Is it the election over? Nope! Hitler did 5 years in prison for trying to overthrow an election, got out, and then started a world war and killed 6 million Jews.
Yeah. Well, there's so much more coming down. Maybe the Supreme Court will just go ahead and make Trump a dictator. I mean, what are the odds?
Neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay? And the press has treated them absolutely unfairly.
I'll tell you what, though. The Senate has the power to do something. You know, Truman once said, to speak softly and carry a big stick.
Scumbags are gonna scumbag. Con men will con. Liars are gonna lie. Cheaters are gonna cheat. And whiny bitches will bitch.
This is a very sad day for America. The whole world is watching. It's all worked. It's all rigged. The whole thing, the whole system is rigged.
Admittedly, it's hard to see their sticks sometimes. At least so I hear.
We New Yorkers used to tolerate him when he was just another grubby real estate hustler masquerading as a big shot. A two-bit playboy lying his way into the tabloids.
You don't fuck around in this place. You got it?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Thank you.
Fortunately, there's no one in the Supreme Court that would take some money. I mean, come on, that's crazy talk, Zachariah. You have TDS. You're a libtard.
You would never abuse power as retribution against anybody.
Except for day one.
Ethics. I know. You're going to have to look that word up. Good luck. Hey, y'all. Subscribe. Please subscribe. I don't need anything else from you. I need you to subscribe. If you want to share this video and like the video, that would be awesome. Comments. Please tell me why I'm wrong. I love it when people tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me why I'm wrong. And give me even just a small piece of evidence. I'll make a whole video about how I was wrong. I'll bet no one takes me up on it. Because they never do. I'm Zachariah, Lone Star Liberal. Y'all take it easy.
Come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Don't negotiate, let's investigate, we'll accelerate.